Today we're talking about Zenon the Zequel. Where does that rank in terms of stupid sequel titles?
Oh, like Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel?
Yeah, I googled the stupidest sequel names. We've got the classic of Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yep. There's like Too Fast, Too Furious.
Mm-hmm. There's Piranha 3 Double D. There's Dumb and Dumber 2, spelled T-O.
Okay, but there's also Twitches 2 T-O-O.
But T-O-O makes sense, and I know there's because they're dumb, but like...
Does that make sense?
How about Leprechaun Back to the Hood?
Oh my gosh.
Do I know anything about that? No.
I mean, Alvin and the Chipmunks did it best, because then they have Chipwrecked.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one?
Road Chip.
Road Chip.
What? Why aren't we talking? This should be an Alvin and the Chipmunks.
It really should.
Podcast. Yeah. I still know what you did last summer.
We still know.
It's pretty funny. And then this list also just has like Basic Instinct 2. Like that's just a normal sequel name.
Yeah. What?
So I think Zenon trumps all of these.
Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
We're what are commonly known as the DCOM duo. Maybe not that common.
No. A podcast?
Podcasts. Yeah. That's what we do. I mean, if you've gotten this far, you probably figured out you're listening to a podcast. Although there was that sick kazoo playing, so I get it.
That's true. You could have just thought this was a performance, a song.
Yeah.
Masterpiece.
It's really, this is a concept album, and this week's concept is Zenon the Zequel. So we're apologizing because it's like a 3 out of 10 album.
Yeah.
We at the end of last episode, when we do our next time on, a little pitching in the making. Believe it or not, we don't record.
We record those live.
We record those live. Believe it or not, those are not clips from the previous episode.
I know we just totally like shattered glass right now, but yeah, we record those live after we are done talking about the current episode. I couldn't remember anything about this movie.
It is extremely forgettable. I got some comments to make, but maybe we make those further we get along. I just think a good sequel needs to justify itself and expand upon the world and story in an interesting way. And I think this film fails in both.
I feel like they could have done a lot better with the plot, and they didn't. And the one thing it has going for it is still that it's like fun because
the whole
it's Zenon.
Costuming and everything is still cool and everything.
Like they're up in space and that's fun, and they're using their silly slang and that's fun. But like the movie fails at a lot.
Yeah, it just could have been better, but also neither of us are attached enough to the Zenon franchise that we're either that hurt or that like wanting to defend it.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. We didn't grow up with this movie, really. My sister will beg to differ, but that's what 2 years does for you.
That's where we should probably jump into the factos.
Well, first, we don't have fan mail.
We do not have fan mail.
We're recording this like right after our last episode dropped anyway, so it's like unless you turned around an email in like a day, we haven't seen it in time. But if you have thoughts on any DCOMs, and you want to let us know, then you can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com or comment on YouTube or whatever.
All right. Zenon the Zequel. It released January 12th.
Oh my god.
No, I'm not going to do that. January 12th, 2001. It was the 25th DCOM, so a milestone DCOM.
Was this the first sequel?
Yes, I have that more in the factos.
Okay.
But I feel like some stuff makes sense when you think about this was the 25th DCOM.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to do probably a sequel for that. I'm also jumping into the fun fact section here to say this. this is what premiered, or sorry, this aired right before the premiere of Lizzie McGuire.
Whoa.
Which is a big
That's
deal.
crazy.
And this is where some stuff started to come in my head of why I think this movie flops a bit.
Okay.
I'm guessing this was made more by a mandate than any DCOM before this. No other DCOM before this was a sequel.
Yeah.
I would have thought if you asked me that Halloween Town 2 would have been first. I think when we covered that, I said, oh, no, it's not actually. But, yeah. It's
mentally, it feels like it should be.
Mentally, it feels like it should be.
Doesn't Halloween Town feel a little bigger than Zenon? Not that Zenon wasn't
Halloween
big.
Town was first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they made a Zequel before they made a Halloween Town 2.
Later that year would release the Halloween Town sequel, and it has to be around Halloween. So
maybe that's why.
Yeah,
maybe that's why.
But yeah, my take on this matter, a lot of this movie makes sense if you think. I don't know this at all to be a fact. I didn't really do that much digging. But this film looks like they were just pushing something through with a recognizable, successful DCOM franchise in order to promote Lizzie McGuire after. They wanted to try the strategy of using a DCOM people cared about to promote a show. Something that we see later on to huge success.
Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb being the most clear example, but other ones too, like Shake It Up had a huge
Cowbells and Hannah Montana.
Yeah, like
it makes sense to put stuff together like that. Yeah,
this is a Disney Channel key strategy. That they've done, and this is, I don't know for a fact if this is the first time they did it, but it's definitely the first time with a sequel where it's like big, marketable.
Well, that's just because it's first sequel period.
Yeah.
Also,
so I thought that was all interesting.
Yeah.
All right. The director of this film is Manny Cotto.
Okay.
He directed one other DCOM and basically like no other projects beyond that.
Wow.
You
know why? He directed the best movie of all time, and he had nowhere else to go.
He directed The Other Me.
That's the one.
I want to see if he directed this before or after that.
This came out before The Other Me. So, yeah.
It did? Okay.
What, did it not? Oh, I guess I was assuming.
No, Zequel came after.
No! You're telling me The Other Me was
the last film he did.
Oh, man. I thought The Other Me would be after for sure. The Other Me's within the first 25 DCOMs?
Yeah. You got little young Andrew Lawrence, and he's a young...
That's true. I guess just like Horse Sense and The Other Me are just earlier than I thought.
Yeah. So, really not much of a director outside of these two DCOMs and a couple other small things, but actually a pretty prolific writer and executive producer.
Oh, fun.
Like a lot of credits that are pretty big. Probably the most notable, he won an actual Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Drama Series as a part of the 24 team. Like, he was a big enough role on that he won the Emmy along with like the rest of the team. Yeah, big show and like the biggest award of the night in the Emmys.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big.
Wow.
Other notable writing and producing credits he has is American Horror Story, multiple in that, Dexter, and Star Trek Enterprise. Other stuff as well, but those are probably the biggest stuff. So interesting stuff within there. But yeah, not too much. For the cast, I'm going to probably go through this a little quickly because most of this stuff I just copied and pasted from our last Zenon episode.
Yeah.
Not much has changed with these actors. Playing the role of Zenon Carr is Kirsten Storms. She's in all of the Zenon films. She's also in Johnny Tsunami and Kim Possible, So the Drama.
Who is she in Kim Possible?
She's one of the girls. I don't remember.
She's one of the girls.
I do not remember off the top of my head. I can figure that out. Give me a second. She's Bonnie.
Yeah, that's the bitch.
So
cool. And oh my god, Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was the first Belle Black.
She was the first Belle Black.
That's crazy.
And then she, since 2005, has been on General Hospital. She's really just a soap star who also did DCOM.
She really is?
Like, the only thing I had updated her cast segment here was how many episodes of General Hospital she did.
It's still going?
It's 1,677 now.
Wow.
There's quite a few, after having already done 779 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. She was on Days of Our Lives from 1999 to 2004. She was doing that at the same time as this, as the sequel.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess she was very young Belle Black. So I only know Belle Black as a full-on adult with a kid. So like I guess it makes sense that like Belle used to be young, you know?
That people can grow up in soap operas.
Sometimes very quickly. Sometimes they're a child and then they're 18 within a week. It's crazy.
It happens. All right. Playing the role of Nebula Wade is not Raven Simone.
What?
It's Shadia Simmons. To be blunt about it, Raven did not reprise her role, but she does for the third movie.
It's really weird, yeah.
It's because she was filming Dr. Dolittle 2 at the same time.
Yo.
This keeps up my theory that they had a mandate to get this movie out. So
That
they
they couldn't-
didn't wait for Raven's filming. They didn't wait for the Greg's filming. And both of the parents in this movie are recast as well. I think they just were like, we don't
turn it around.
We need to just get this movie made.
Do you think it's actually that Greg was busy, or did they just not care to put him in the movie? They probably would have put him in. They mention him.
There is not really a romance plot in this movie, and they kind of want there to be one.
It's so weird. At the end, we'll talk
about it. Yeah. Shadia Simmons is in Color of Friendship and in Quince. So
You
3
go,
total
girl.
DCOM.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
DCOM princess.
Yeah. She has some notable TV roles in Strange Days at Blake Hosley High, Life with Derek, and Ace Lightning. And then she's been retired from acting ever since. I believe she's a high school teacher.
Fun.
I didn't write that down, but I think I remember reading that. Playing the role of Margie Hammond is Lauren Maltby. She's in every Zenon, one of the only people to be in all of them. She's in Stepsister from Planet Weird as well, and basically nothing else she's acted in.
I think I remember when we watched Stepsister, we were like, oh, that's Margie.
That's Margie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Z3 was her final acting project.
Okay.
Talk about bad sequel names. Why are the Zenon films named like this?
Why are they exactly like Fast and Furious?
Why are all of them Zenon : something?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, she's now a clinical and forensic psychologist.
Fun.
Playing the role of Orion, no last name given.
Belt.
Is Thomas M. Did you just say Belt?
Orion Belt. I was like, no reaction to my joke?
I took me a second to get to that. I appreciate that.
You.
Yeah, playing the role of Orion Belt is Thomas M. Wright. He was in Stepsister from Planet Weird. He was Cutter, the dumb guy.
Nice. The one that
we both really appreciated.
The one that mansplains humanity to the alien. Like,
yeah.
Bruh, stop killing people. And he's like, you're right.
So those two roles, this movie and that, were really his start. He's actually just had a lot of critical acclaim TV roles, award-winning stuff for stuff I've somewhat heard of, like The Outsiders, The Bridge, Top of the Lake. And more recently, he's got into directing.
Okay.
He directed a 2022 Cannes premiere, The Stranger, which just premiering a film at Cannes is a huge deal.
I'll take your word for it.
That's the biggest film festival in the world.
Really?
The two most prestigious prizes you can win in a film, it's a Palme d'Or at Cannes and Best Picture at the Academy.
I've heard of Palme d'Or.
So Palme d'Or is awarded at Cannes.
Okay.
Specifically, I think he was in the second category, the Un Certain Regard.
Ooh.
French is weird.
Ooh.
But again, it's just a really big deal to even be selected to premiere a film there.
Yeah. That's
it's a big honor. So, yeah, I think it's on Netflix. It's about a cop who befriends an undercover cop who befriends a guy that's the lead suspect for a child.
Whoa. Kind of like juror number 2, but cops and investigation. What?
I'm just thinking of the movie where it's just guy who's only seen one film before. You know, this really reminds me of Cars 2. Playing the role of General Hammond is John Getz. He's a character actor with a bunch of notable credits to his name. Some stuff that he was in includes Social Network, The Fly, Blood Simple, for TV shows, The Last of Us, and Man on the Inside.
Wow.
So, a lot of acting. One of those guys, just a lot of small roles. Like, I think Blood Simple is a man. He's done some leading, but yeah. Playing the role of Commander Plank, Edward Plank, is Stuart Pankin.
He's back.
He's back. Yeah.
Back again.
He had roles on the TV series, not necessarily the news, Dinosaurs. He had some movie roles in like.
Wait. It's not necessarily the news and Dinosaurs different.
Those are two separate
because
shows.
the way you wrote it kind of makes it sound like that's one show. Not necessarily the news, Dinosaurs. I would watch that.
Interesting.
I would watch that.
I think we got a pitch. The movies he was in was Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves and Fatal Attraction.
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves? Specifically that one? Is that like the third one?
I think that's the third one. He hasn't done that much, if you can tell. But he was often a celebrity guest on TV game shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
As low tiering celebrities do.
Yeah, classic D-lister behavior.
Yeah.
You played that like Kim Kardashian app.
I did.
I'm just saying, is that like something you could do when you were D-list?
Yeah. No, that is how I learned about like D-list, A-list. Like what that meant was from the Kim Kardashian game when I was in like high school. So hell yeah.
Playing the role of Aunt Judy Kling is Holly Folger.
She's back.
She's back. Same as before. She was a series regular on Anything But Love and Ellen, otherwise just small TV and movie roles, really.
Yeah.
Playing the role of Protozoa is Philip Reese Hardry.
He's back.
Yep. Protozoa is the same guy, he just doesn't have a band anymore.
But then he does.
And I think it's a different band. He's just done various small TV and film roles, like he was in Survivors and 24. He was also in the 2023 Disney Plus show, The Full Monty.
That's crazy.
With like, we just didn't write that down last
time.
Like,
Protozoa, come back.
Protozoa, come be just a guy.
Come be a guy.
Yeah.
Wake me up, shake me
I wonder if people recognize him in the street and go, Protozoa? I hope so. The role of Mark Carr, the dad, is now played by Robert Curtis Brown. This was a recast.
He's not back.
Yeah.
He's new.
I didn't even talk about the parents last time because realistically they did not have big roles in the first movie, but in this one they definitely did.
They had way bigger roles in this one.
Yeah. He's Mr. Evans in the High School Musical franchise.
That's awesome. He's iconic in the second one. When they're golfing, amazing.
So yeah, no, again, I was telling Kelsey when we were watching this, because I did the factos before watching the film, I'm like, every person here seems to be in like one other DCOM, so I'm just gonna look at them and be like, you're in that one.
Yeah.
Lots of other small credits on pretty notable projects. Some I noted down were Switched at Birth,
Whoa,
Handmaid's Tale,
Whoa,
Beverly Hills 90210,
Whoa.
The Original Matlock.
God. I just Googled him. He was definitely in Handmaid's Tale. I just rewatched Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
So
he had like all of those that I wrote are multiple episode arcs.
Yeah. Who is he in Switched at Birth?
Yeah, you would know.
I need to know. I'm looking it up.
Back with.
Oh, he's on Raven's Home. Did you say that?
Oh, I did not.
It was one episode, so it's not a big deal.
No, I just didn't include a lot of his one episode arcs because I felt like there was enough interesting in his multi-episode arcs.
Ronan.
Does he have anything to do with Lucas Grabeel?
I think more so the girl. If I'm remembering right, that's like a sleazy politician guy. So I don't think he had much to do with Lucas Grabeel. But I mean, maybe they did, and it's fun because they were father-son in High School Musical.
Yeah. Then finally, I have down playing the role of Astrid Carr, the mom, Susan Brady.
Also recast.
Yeah. She was in Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. Also the mom there.
Can't wait for that one.
weirdly, like, she doesn't have a ton of acting credits, but like, she's in like 6 different Power Rangers things.
Wow.
And not as the same character. Only like one of those were the same character.
Whoa.
That's what was surprising to me.
Yeah.
So just like some Power Ranger producer likes her or something. I think she's in notable roles in New Zealand TV shows. Melody Rules and Shorthand Street. I don't watch New Zealand television.
Yeah.
Sorry. Come at me if you want. But that's what she's known for. And again, I just found it interesting. Maybe Power Rangers is produced by New Zealand. I don't know. I don't actually know. For the fun facts, I already said them. Lizzie McGuire was immediately following this was the premiere. So again, I feel like once I learned that, a lot about the film started to make sense to me in terms of why it feels empty. Because this, it's the first DCOM sequel, and it is not the best.
Yeah.
The best DCOM sequel
is High School Musical 2.
Yeah.
Or Descendants 2.
Yeah, that's where I was about to get debating.
Or Zombies 2.
I think it's High School Musical 2.
It has to be, right?
Yeah. Unless you're trying to go like what improves the most.
Cheetah Girls, no.
I don't even know if I would agree with Cheetah Girls. I feel like Cheetah Girls 1 has more specialness.
Is there a sequel that's like definitively better? I don't think so.
Not Teen Beach Movie.
I feel like, oh my god, no. I feel like the closest that is like Zombies. I do think Zombies improves a lot.
Horse Sense is better than Jumping Ship. Oh, you know what?
What?
Genuine opinion here. Under Wraps 2.
Oh, the new ones?
Yeah.
From what I remember, I think I like the second one more, but I've only seen them once on premiere. So like I'm gonna have to watch them again to really give an opinion on that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
I think that's the best answer though.
Yeah. You ready for the Disney Plus subscription?
I am so ready for the Disney Plus subscription. I thought I was reading it, but you
can read it. I just figured we would get into it.
Okay. Oh, you're telling me to move along.
Yeah, I'm telling you to move along.
Zenon, the sequel. After inadvertently trashing Commander Plank's quarters, Zenon is assigned the lowly task of alien detection duty. To make matters worse, the space station is now under the command of General Hammond, who assigns Zenon to look after his daughter and Xenon's old nemesis, Margie. While on duty, Zenon discovers that her space station is being decommissioned, so she must sneak down to Earth to try and stop it. On top of all this, she makes alien contact, though no one believes her at first. Once again, it's up to Zenon to take charge and save her friends, family, and the space station.
I don't know why, but no one believes her at first. Like that part feels very silly.
You don't need to add the at first.
At first. Like, yeah, like it's kind of implied that they'll believe her eventually.
People should know the plots of movies well enough.
Wouldn't it be so funny if she's like, guys, there's aliens, and they're like, no, and then nobody ever believes her? It
would be funny if no one believed her. She's like literally shaking hands with an alien, and everyone's like, that's fake. Yeah. CGI. AI.
Right. Shall we jump into the movie?
I am ready to Girl versus Monster this movie.
All right. So we start out, this is shocking, but we start out in space.
That is so amazing and crazy. That's wild.
I'm going to read my notes because this is exactly how it happened. There's something floating in space. It's a screen. Oh my god, it's Star Wars.
Nothing shocked me more than somehow neither of us at all remembering that they do a Star Wars screen call brawl at the beginning of this movie.
We watched this last night. I forgot again until reading my notes. Like, oh my god, that is how this movie started.
It's crazy. Like, it's clearly a Star Wars reference. There's nothing else. It's a terrible way to
it's like we learn later that it's her Zap pad. It's like an iPad.
Which I think they had those in the first movie too.
Yeah, I think they're bigger now than they were in the first movie, which it's been a year. I guess they upgraded it. But it looks like an Etch-a-Sketch without the knobs.
Yeah.
So imagine an Etch-a-Sketch.
It's also
on
very
an
funny
iPad.
to me because like the button layout on it is
There's like 3 little buttons in the middle and the bottom.
it's like no, it's like 5 buttons.
Oh,
It's
is
like
it?
the most awkward number of buttons compared to the current like design theories.
We never really
And the
see them
device
hit
is thick.
buttons. They just kind of hold it.
We do see them hit the buttons. That's
Oh,
how they
okay.
type. They type on
Really?
those 5 buttons because they didn't think touchscreens would be invented.
Yeah. So not only is it like there's text, there's a narrator because these kids are too stupid to read.
There's so many people that watch DCOMs that literally can't read.
Yeah.
So they got to do that.
So you know what? These are the first sequels DCOM, like this and Halloween Town 2 are the first sequels made by Disney Channel. And both of them have like a remember what happened in the last movie?
They didn't have faith that it could stand
No,
on its own.
because Halloween Town 2 was like, year ago, I was in Halloween Town and this is what I did. You know?
Yeah.
And this one's like, here's a summary of what happened last movie.
Kelsey wrote down exactly what happened here.
I did. I'll read it.
I want to say this though. While you're hearing Kelsey read it, think to yourselves at home: is this description needed at all to understand the plot of this movie?
Okay. This fun game, everyone. When we last saw Zenon, she was everybody's favorite heroine, having saved her beloved space station from the evil plot to destroy it. Now, a year later, Zenon is at the top of her game. She can go absolutely anywhere, do absolutely anything in her space day, and is a trusted member of the crew. However, Zenon is also 15 years old, and everything in her stellanarious life is about to change forever.
So the answer to that is no, especially because when Kelsey's about to describe the actual scenes that start the movie, all of this is explained in exposition in the first 5
The only new thing you need to know is that like she has access to places now because they like that she saved the spaceship, and they do explain that again.
Not only that, they explained that there was an evil plot that she foiled within the first 5 minutes.
True. Also, have you seen the first one? Like, I really think they needed to fill airtime.
My guess, honestly, is they tested this movie at some point and they added this in like last minute because they got worried that some fans would turn it off and not watch Lizzie McGuire. They're like, I don't know who this is. I don't know what adventure they're talking about. And they're making sure you know it's a sequel, even though it's titled Zenon
The sequel. Yeah. All right. So now we're on the spaceship, the space station.
The spay-stay.
Yeah.
Which I feel like did not really call it that in the first movie.
Yeah.
But she calls it that all the time in this one.
Yeah. Zenon and Nebula are walking the halls. Nebula's like, are you sure about this? And Zenon he's like, yeah, I'm cashing into my hero major chips from stopping the bad guys. You're right. They explained it immediately.
Yep.
And Nebula's freaking out, and Zenon's like, will you ice? So that's some more slang.
I feel like that is new slang. We don't get much new slang.
No, if they say stellanarious a few times.
They did say stellanarious in the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was new. It's been a bit since we watched it, so I don't know. How long has it been?
7 months, I believe.
7 months?
I looked at it before when I was
okay.
May have been a little longer.
They run into the commander. Commander Plank is his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, stay out of trouble, you two. So Zenon just immediately goes into the restricted zone because she has a pass to go in there, which is kind of a lot. Like, I know she saved everyone.
This is the stupidest gift you can give to the person whose problem was sneaking around everywhere.
Now you can just let her free range everywhere.
Like, what I think you should have done is, like, give her a bunch of contact with, like, the leaders of the mission and everything and have her just be a person of trust and interest.
Like a consultant or something? Yeah.
Because she obviously knows her shit, but also she's, like, very much a screw-up.
She just, like, gets into shit. Remember last movie, she, like, put on a suit and was floating around in space.
Yeah.
That was dangerous. Okay, so Zenon's like, hey, I found this game on this monitor, so let's play it. And it's literally like Pong, where like these little doors open and balls come in, and they're like, don't let the balls out.
This is really dumb for a couple reasons.
It's so stellar.
First off, the game is just Pong. They invented Pong
But like worse
in
Pong.
2051. Yeah.
People don't play Pong anymore in 2051.
People will be playing Pong in 2052.
Zenon brought it back.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. What this game is actually doing is opening the commander's room and making stuff fly into space, and that's what the little dots are. The stupid thing that I'm going to talk about is the rule of this little video game they made up is like, oh, they're trying to keep everything in like the decompression room, the in-betweener room, without knowing what it is. Except think about the fact that the person could just always keep the back door closed.
Well, they have to let the balls in.
Well, you can let the balls in by opening one door and keeping the other one closed.
You're right.
It's really an easy game to win.
Maybe one is trying to let them out and one's trying to keep them in, but that doesn't really work either because you could just leave them both open.
Yep. But luckily, these girls are too dumb and they're having a good time. And who am I to yuck their yum? But maybe like play Zelda instead.
What I want to know is why do these controls exist?
They should be in a room with that. They're also it's just like an office that goes straight into space.
That's what I'm saying. It's literally the commander's office, and there's 2 doors that open into space. How is that safe?
There was no consistency consultant on this movie where it's like, this doesn't make any sense. They were like, we have a plot idea where Zenon's going to put stuff into space. And then they didn't think about any
And they do use it as a reason to like get her a punishment, but you could have done anything. Like, so yeah, we see all the stuff lying around the commander's office, and the girls have no idea what's going on. And the commander like sees his stuff flying out the window into space, and he goes into his office like, "What the heck?" And he almost gets sucked down into space. And Zenon's like, "Well, someday we'll find out what the little blips mean." And the commander's like, "Zenon." So
pretty classic Zenon shenanigans. Then we get the famous Zenon theme song.
Zenon, girl of the 21st century. Is that it?
No. Good try, though.
What is it?
It's Zenon. Zenon. She's the girl of the 21st century. She's here to fuck shit up. Zenon. You can see why they cut it from future releases.
All right, so in her room, Zenon, and she's speaking with Greg. You don't get to see Greg
because he's not in this movie.
He's not in the movie, but she's on her little zap pad, and Greg dumps her, and she's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, he's like, "You only blew me a kiss."
He's like, "I'm tired of not seeing
back at you."
And she's like, I don't even care that much that we're broken up. It's more the fact that he dumped me. Like, what?
I'm Zenon. I'm like the it girl.
Yeah. She's like, I bet Marjorie had something to do with this.
He's the devil major.
Yeah. And Nebula's like, it's hard to do long distance. Just ask the commander and you're on. Because remember last movie, Aunt Judy and Commander Plank were like getting it on.
They were like full on smooching.
Yeah. Like, well, anyway, now we can have more fun on the ship now that you don't have a boyfriend who you never see anyway. And then the commander calls her and tells her that her roaming pass is restricted because of his stuff flying out of his office.
Valid.
Should have done that. You never should have given it to her in the first place.
It's a wild gift. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Again, any put a thought into this movie and the plot unravels.
Maybe she swindled him. Maybe she's just like, hey, I saved everyone. You should probably reward me for that.
There's so many other rewards to give her, though.
I don't know. So in the hall, Commander and Zenon are talking. He's mad about his office. He lost his favorite shoe. Singular shoe. And she's like, but I'm sorry, Major. And he's like, nevertheless, you need to work in the alien patrol lab because it's going to be good for you. We haven't had any signals in the last 5 years from any aliens.
So it's just going to be boring sitting there.
Yeah.
There's clearly not going to be any aliens to appear in this alien movie.
Yeah, why would there be? So they go to the alien patrol room. They meet Orion. And he's like, yeah, 5 years, no contact. But it's gonna happen. There's gotta be aliens out there.
I'm gonna say this quickly. Orion and Zenon are going to be very slightly shipped at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
I want to, as we're running through this, think to ourselves if there's anything hinting towards that, except for the fact that they're both theoretically eligible single.
Mhm. So right
'Cause
now, no. Zenon is assigned some night shifts like every night and then a Saturday shift, and she's like, Cetus-Lupeedus. And I wrote, dude bro found a new planet, maybe? Sure. His name is Orion. Orion shows Zenon around the equipment, but she's so sad. And so she doesn't pay attention.
Man. They're so destined for each other. This relationship's gonna last.
So that night she's on her shift, but she's sleeping in her chair. And then beeping happens, and she's like, oh my god, it's an alien, it's an alien. And she's scrambling around, but then she turns and she sees that Orion is there. It's like, oh, that's just the alarm for the end of the shift. Haha.
Yeah, she was asleep on the job on
Yeah,
her
what the
first
heck?
day.
So now Zenon is complaining to her mom about how boring it is. And the mom's like, the month will be over before you know it. And she says, just like me and Greg.
Man, what a smooth transition.
Yeah. Just to let you know that, like, hey, we didn't forget about Greg.
We
They
just
broke
didn't,
up.
we didn't bring him back because
We didn't bring him back.
who cared about Greg? He
Not
rides
me.
horses. How are we gonna bring a horse in space?
He says, I got the standard, it's not you, it's me from Greg.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, that still exists in 26 years.
Yeah. And then on TV, Zenon sees that Protozoa hasn't been seen in public or the recording studio since his space performance a year ago. So he's like missing.
How incredibly convenient is someone that we know about and an event we know about.
Yeah.
They didn't explain that in the title scroll.
Yeah, what the? And they're like, also, Protozoa performed on the spaceship. Yeah. Guess we need that explained to us.
Side note, if he hasn't appeared at all during this whole time, how does Zenon only just now figure out?
I guess after a year, they're like, okay, it's official. This is weird. Where is he?
It's been 2 years.
It's been 1 year.
Oh, I thought it's been 2.
I'm pretty sure they said in the beginning it's been a year.
Okay, interesting, because
At least that's what I remember.
the plot summary I read early on was saying 2 years, but
Really?
I think it might just because there was 2 years between the movies.
Oh, I at the beginning of the movie they said like it's been 1 year. Maybe it was in the opening scroll. Let me look. Now a year later, Zenon is at the top of her game, is what it said in the opening scroll. I wrote it down word for word. Okay, so there's a like an announcement that says all hands to the mess hall for an emergency briefing. So everybody goes and the commander speaks to everyone, and we learn that the US military is taking control of the ship. And now that, you know, the bad dude is gone, the like
Windham
owner.
and Lutz and whatever.
Yeah. They like owned the ship. And now that they're gone, they've been kind of in limbo for the past year, like who owns all the research and stuff that's going on up here. So the military's coming. And they're sending over a squad to evaluate each module, and there might be some that are removed, and some people are going to have to be sent back to Earth. And, you know, there's concern that some sectors of the station are deteriorating, and so that's why. And hopefully they don't shut the whole thing down. But good.
I'm gonna spoil a little bit in this movie. If you're listening to this, you don't care about spoilers. Yeah, it's fine. The military is coming up, but their plan is to actually decommission the whole. And the reason why is not because like of a lack of money or anything, which was the problem that Windham and Lutz did. They thought, oh, this is unprofitable. Let's just blow this up and everyone on it.
They wanted insurance money in the first one, yeah.
Which is, first off, a way more interesting plot.
Yeah. It's just going to blow up.
Oh, everyone's going to have to go back to Earth, which would be sad, sure, but like, what a step down on a sequel.
For real.
But what's really annoying to me is the reason they're like shutting them down is not the lack of research money, not the lack of usefulness or anything, but it's because the whole stunt that Windham and Lutz pulled in the first movie apparently moved them out of their orbit.
Yeah, I don't know.
They would be crashing into Earth.
I don't know why they don't mention that right now.
Because, like, truthfully, all of that being said would make way more sense to say up front and just be like, hey, we can't move you back into orbit and you are out of orbit. We have to get all of you down here. You will otherwise die eventually.
Instead, they give them false hope of like, oh, maybe some will save. Maybe they think they can save some of the ship.
And I think like the concept at one point was if they decommission some parts and push them away, the Newton's third law will push them back into the directed orbit. But like, it's also just dumb that they don't say what's going on right away.
Yeah,
it would make everything make more sense both from a government and like a humanity situation.
Yeah.
So dumb plot. I'm gonna complain about it more.
Cut to the spaceship flying to the space station. Commander and Zenon are walking the halls. He's like, who stays and who goes isn't up to me, Zenon, okay? So stop bugging me about it. And the military dude shows up and requests to see Zenon ASAP. It's like, it's specifically like, I want to talk to Zenon. Yeah, so she goes to see him. And he's like, I've heard of you, Zenon. I've heard good things of what you've done. And she's like, flattering Major General. And she's like buttering him up. And she's like, whatever you need, I'm in. And he's like, I need you to watch over my daughter. In from Marjorie in like slow motion. It's amazing. She looks amazing. She's wearing all orange.
The best person, like the best aspect of this whole film.
Yeah. Bringing her back was inspired.
She is a boss and a queen.
She's a bitch. She's a boss. She's a bitch. She's a boss. And she shines like the law.
Yeah, her outfit is very iconic.
It's so orange.
She absolutely ate.
Yeah. Her dad's like, you should go take a nap. And she's like, Daddy, why? I'm not tired. I want to be with Zenon. And so he's like, okay, you can go hang out with Zenon.
And immediately starts blackmailing her. This is why we love Margie.
We love Margie. So in Zenon's room, Margie's like, did I mention that Greg says hi? And Zenon's like, only like 5 or 6 times, rubbing it in that they're broken up now. And she says, it's Trey Viral. He broke up with you. Are you pancakes?
I think that's new.
Pancakes? Is that like accurate? Flattened? Oh.
That's my guess.
Okay. Zenon's like, fine, I'll babysit you, but up here, you're on my turf. And Margie's like, my daddy's in charge, so I'm in charge of you now. Can I borrow this outfit? And Zenon's like, no. And Margie's like, hey, if you're not Mondo nice to me, I'll tell my dad to reassign your whole family back to Earth. And Zenon's like, fine, you can have my new outfit. And by the way, the outfit's orange. Margie loves orange. It's like really just the beginning when she's up on the spaceship. Once they like leave, she doesn't wear all orange anymore. And I think they should have kept it up. And her final outfit isn't orange, I don't think either.
Yeah, what the hell is this color?
Maybe it's because she grew as a person.
Which is unfortunate. She shouldn't grow as a person.
She shouldn't. She should keep wearing orange.
I want her to be a boss bitch the entire time.
Yeah. They still have some fun outfits, but I feel like they're really missing the pink and the blue from the first one. They're trying to do something different. But also, I didn't mention this. Zenon's hair is so cute. She like cut it with like a middle part with a little bob now. It's so cute. I love it.
Yeah, this movie is at its best when it's girl boss, gaslighting, and gatekeeping.
For real.
And that's only when we're on the Margie scenes.
Speaking of that, let's have a little mean montage, blackmailing montage. In the cafeteria, Zenon gets Margie's food for her, and it's on an orange tray. Everything's orange for Margie. So, yeah, Zenon brings her food, and then Margie's like, you have to cut it for me. And so Zenon cuts it. Why is everything orange? In school, Zenon has to do Margie's work for her, and Margie also gets the last piece of cake. That's in the cafeteria.
Will Margie apologize for this by the end of the movie?
No. She's right for that.
Which is pretty great, I gotta say. Obviously, in real life, this is not how we want to act, and maybe I should be cheering for good morals, but like...
In this movie, this is the best it gets. It's when Margie's bullying Zenon.
We got to celebrate the wins where we can get them.
Yeah.
And like, Margie's cooking.
She is. She's funny.
So, let's appreciate the best part of the movie, which is right now.
In the hall, Zenon's complaining to Nebula about Margie.
Also, Nebula's whole relationship in this movie sucks.
Nebula pisses me off in this movie.
Bad because
Raven would never, by the way.
Basically, Zenon's just pouring her heart out about how much she hates Margie and how unfair it is.
And then Nebula stabs her in the fucking back.
Nebula the whole time's like, A, it's not that bad. B, I'm going to be friends with her. C, Why
need
don't
more
you care
attention.
about me?
Yeah.
And D, like, even though I can literally see all this blackmail happening to you, you just gotta, like, suck it up, and I'm friends with her, and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, because you're so busy lately. Like, what?
Because of the punishment that you were with her for.
Yeah, why isn't Nebula punished at all?
Because goody two shoes, and it's her first offense. Because
Is it though?
never did anything wrong, and even if he did, different identity.
Anyway, so Zenon's complaining Nebula. She says it's like it's her sole mission in life to send me into meltdown mode major. Guys, remember the slang? It happens every sentence. Nebula's like, she only gets under your skin because you let her. And Zenon's like, well, I have to paint her toenails next. Inkorama. Tell her no way, says Nebula. And Zenon's like, I can't, she'll complain to her daddy. Some families are like already being sent out of the space station, so I have to like do what she says. And Zenon's like, I'll play along with Margie, but not roll over and play dead. So she has a little plot, which like is gonna make Margie mad. So I don't know why she's playing with fire, but okay. Cut to Zenon doing Margie's toes, and she puts some glue in like the top coat of the nail polish.
Is it just because she could have plausible deniability?
I guess so. Of like, what do you mean your toes are sticky? I just use this top coat.
Yeah.
Margie has her eyes closed during this, so she doesn't see the glue. And then later, Margie's socks are stuck to her toes, and she's like, Zenon. And this is the last we hear about this, but I'm assuming she came right from getting her toes painted into her room, and she pulls off her sock and it's stuck. Why the fuck would you put on socks immediately after painting your toes?
That's a great question.
She has like socks and boots on. Your toenails are still gonna be wet. You have to let them dry. Don't put on socks and boots. Your toes are gonna be ruined.
But maybe in the next 25 years they fix nail polish.
It has to be right after though, because the glue would dry.
Yep.
Wouldn't the glue dry?
Well, maybe in 25 years glue's different.
Glue just stays sticky forever?
Yeah. A lot of stuff can change in 25 years.
I feel like that your toes would stick to your socks with normal freaking wet nail polish. So at night, Zenon's doing her alien shift, and the monitor starts doing stuff. So Zenon's like, Commander, you got a rocket over here, warp speed. And he's like, okay, there's a slight spike. That could have been for 100 reasons. It could be a signal from Earth.
They're not like, this is literally nothing.
Yeah.
There's like, no, there is something here, but also like it's could just be anything, which is a very reasonable take to have.
Zenon says she heard a very distinct zum.
Yeah, notably we didn't get to hear this.
Yeah, which is weird. Because we get to hear the next one.
Yeah, maybe it did and we both just missed it.
Something happened. I didn't hear this. I think it's supposed to be kind of faint.
Yeah.
So that we could be like, oh, maybe she's crazy.
Well, she is, but she's also right.
Yeah. So Zenon talks with her parents, and they're like, the signal is probably something else. And she's like, but Dad, you told me to push limits and whatnot. And he's like, yeah, but you've been having a rough few days. Margie, Greg, Protozoa disappearing. Maybe you made it up to get attention. That's so rude to say to your face.
Yeah.
And she says, how pathetic major do you think I am? I heard a zum.
But everyone just makes fun of her, the girl who saved their entire spaceship from literal death and destruction, because she had a hunch of the previous movie.
Yeah, and she memorized some wingdings.
But this movie, she just read a signal from aliens that, like, the people can say, yeah, there was something there.
Yeah, and they're like, you just want attention.
You just want my heart.
Just want attention. Okay. In the hall, some boys tease her for making up the alien thing. Apparently, news gets around fast. I don't know who told everyone. The commander? Zenon's parents?
There's only Orion.
Orion?
There's only a couple hundred. Also, no chemistry between Orion and Zenon.
Oh, no. I didn't even mention him in the notes because his role in that scene was so minimal.
Yeah, news gets around fast because there's only like 200 people up there, actually. So,
yeah,
there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, but I just, like, how did they find out? Unless Zenon herself was like, guys, I heard something.
I think it could be the commander.
Why would he do that?
Just because he told, like, some higher up, like, yeah, Zenon heard a zum.
And
Well,
then
like, obviously, that's fake. And
and
then they
now
told their kids.
yeah, that leads to all the kids bullying her.
Yeah.
And she says, "Laugh all you want, clown boys. When the aliens arrive, they'll eat the downers first." And then Zenon walks into the common room, and Margie's like showing off this holograph video playing device thing, which looks like worse quality than like a portable DVD player we would have
It
a few
again,
years
for
later.
some reason, just like the media quality and the size of devices is way funnier to me. I love retrofuturism.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm not going to make fun of the movie for its predictions.
Especially now that we're closer to the time than it is in the movie
Yeah.
in real life. Yeah.
Like the moment we hit 2016, was it? No,
Or Back to
2015
or Back to the Future. Yeah.
was
That was
cool.
funny. That was cool.
And figuring out what they got right and got wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that fascinating, interesting. Anywho,
Yes.
it's like I'm not going to make fun of, but the devices are way too thick and not nearly as high quality enough for
Yeah.
even a 2024 device.
Yeah. So Margie's showing it off and it like plays movies, I guess, and everybody loves it, including Nebula, by the way. Nebula is right there hanging out with Margie. And Margie's like, everyone's gonna go to my room to watch. Too bad, Zenon, you can't come because your alien shift is starting. Zum you later. Haha, get it? Because that's what she heard.
Margie's so cool. I would be her friend.
Zenon's like, Margie, let me say one thing. But then Margie's like,
hello, daddy.
My daddy. And Zenon's like, whatever. And so she lets her go. And then Nebula kind of lingers behind. And Zenon's like, Nebula, you can go to the movie if you want. And Nebula's like, are you sure? And Zenon's like, yeah, it's fine. I have to go to my thing. And Nebula's like, okay, bye. Like, she really wants to go. And she doesn't care that much about leaving Zenon behind. She does do one look back. Like,
yeah. And she is accurate that she can't hang out with each other.
Yeah.
But it's also like,
why are you hanging out with the enemy?
Even beyond that, like, the manipulation that's going on here. It's just mean.
No, she knows that Margie is actively bullying her and she doesn't stand up for her at all.
Every other kid I can be okay with because they don't know what's going on and they don't have Zenon's best interest in heart.
Yeah. But Nebula? So now Zenon's back in the lab, and this time we definitely hear a zoom, like it's louder this time.
Yeah.
Zoom. And so she calls for someone, and the commander appears, and he's like, another zum? And she's like, kind of, only higher. Zum, zum.
Man, can you guess what this is going to end up being?
I actually really like the twist that's coming. And he's like, that's just some normal beeps. And she's like, now it is, but I definitely heard a zum earlier. And then the captain comes down and commander's like, oh, nothing's happening, captain. But Zenon's like, actually something is happening. I heard some zums. And he's like, maybe this whole station should be shut down if it's malfunctioning, like this whole alien thing.
The whole alien lab, which what? If it's been 5 years and they are all so convinced that everything going on is a mistake, maybe it should be shut down.
Yeah, maybe they should look into any signal that they get because it could be aliens and that's the whole point of this lab. They're like, oh, it's nothing.
The plot is stupid if you dig into it at all.
At all. Which is not a good movie to make.
Let me tell you, this did not win any screenwriting awards, I sure hope.
Let me tell you. Zenon's like, no, don't shut it down. And then the commander tells her that she's banned from the lab. She's like, actually, Zenon, you shouldn't work here. Which was her punishment, but now she gets out of it. But it seems like she's sad about it, but I would be like, fine. Do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That was my punishment. Now I'm out of it.
But yeah, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna not care. I'm gonna focus on making Margie's life hell without getting punished for it.
Yeah.
But she is Zenon, so she doesn't give up on things.
Yeah. So then it's a new scene. There's an announcement about another module being jettisoned off, which literally means that a huge section of the space station just gets sent out into space.
Which maybe I'm not creative enough, or maybe I'm being too creative. But like, when they want to take those materials, but I guess they're trying to push it in the orbit is the real plan, so I guess they do need to just push it off.
To like try and push them in the right direction.
Yeah.
The parents are like, this is crazy. And Zenon's like, why?
Yeah, every module that get pushed off is like 5% of the ship being fired.
Yeah. The sabotage knocked the station off orbit. So we mentioned this earlier. This is the first time we hear about it. The sabotage from the last movie made the station off orbit. And if it gets more out of whack, their whole station will come like crashing down to Earth. And that's obviously really bad. And Mom wears her dress helmet again from the last movie, but I think it might look different.
I wish I remember what the stress helmet looked like in the first movie, because it's iconic and wild, and this time it just looks like a bicycle helmet, and I feel like it didn't look that dumb before.
I feel like there was more spikes in the first one. Maybe we can Google.
Oh my god, yeah, the first one is so much better.
Wait, was it purple in the first one?
With
That's
like
so
the
much
little
better.
balls.
It's like a hood with little balls and it's purple, and then the one in the new one was like a red helmet, like the sphere in Drake and Josh. Put on your head.
Mhm.
Wow, it really changed. She got an upgraded stress helmet.
And we're closer to the year Zenon was set than when it was.
Don't say that. We're old, man. All right. Zenon is like, we're just gonna sit here and take this, and they're like, what are you gonna do? And Zenon's like, I don't know, but I'm gonna think of something because I'm Zenon. So then the commander shows Zenon his new office, which is now in a utility closet because the military captain, took his old office.
Commandeered it. Yeah,
it was already cleared out. They didn't make that joke. I made that joke.
It would have been a better joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, talking about this movie is making me dislike it more than when we were watching it.
It's better watching it because at least you're like in the atmosphere of Zenon watching it.
Visually, it's an interesting movie because the costumes and stuff are consistently unique.
Just talking about it, it's pretty freaking boring. Zenon's like, we should fight back. We belong up here. And he's like, maybe we should just go back to Earth. It would be a lot less stressful and I could get a steady job and be normal. And Zenon's like, no, this isn't you. All this talk of aliens makes us look crazy. All right, anyway. Zenon's walking the halls while the kids bully her some more.
Yeah, don't forget, she's now not popular.
Yeah. And then Zenon runs into Margie and Nebula hanging out. And it's obviously really awkward. And then Margie's like, hey, Zenon, you have to do my history report on the stock market crash of 2006. Okay, this movie came out in 2001. And Margie mentions a stock market crash in 2006. Benji, when was the actual stock market crash?
It's like the financial crisis of 2008, but the crash started in 07.
What the fuck? We could just chalk this up to Margie being bad at history.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
How the fuck did they predict that?
I mean, the signs were there. The Big Short and whatnot, but like, yeah. No, it's kind of wild.
That's wild.
Margie, if we listened to Margie, could have made it rich.
Isn't that kind of weird to make a reference to a year that's 5 years away from your movie?
That is.
Because you're going to find out real soon.
Pretty soon. That's going to age pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it aged well, so.
Yeah. And we're like, Nebula likes Margie now? What the hell? I think Margie leaves, and Zenon's like, forget we were ever friends, Nebula. And Nebula goes after her, and she's like, oh, okay, this is when they leave Margie. Nebula's like, Zenon, why are you being so inky? And Zenon's like, why are you hanging out with her? She's a pain major. And Nebula says, to you, do I have to hate her just because you do?
You have to hate her because she is literally blackmailing.
She's literally bullying your friend.
It's called really solidarity.
Mean. Yeah. You want to hang out with a person that will be this cruel to your friend?
Maybe watch Color of Friendship and get perspective.
Nebula's like, well, she's not mean to me. So it's just like such a bad reason. Nebula's a bad friend. She says, you've been so gone lately with the alien stuff. I just hang out with her because it's something to do. Fuck Nebula.
Yeah, for real.
Zenon's like, fine, go with her and ride the Inky computer pod. By the way, Inky is bad. And just,
I think that was in the first.
I think it was too. She says, I hope you have a fabulo time. So that's a Margie word, is fabulo. And earlier Nebula said fabulo, and that kind of started this argument. She's like, I can't believe you used her word. Yeah, they
Crazy.
had a fight.
Oh my god.
And Xenon's completely in the right. And then Xenon's playing on her little tablet and she's like talking to herself. She's like, I don't care if people think I'm crazy major. I'm right about this. Ugh, I can't even win at Solar Solitaire anymore. I wish I was never even sent to that lab. And then her tablet starts beeping and it goes, zoom, zoom, zoom. And she's like, why does that sound so familiar? Zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh my god, it's Protozoa.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh my god, it's the song
Zoom,
from the
zoom,
first
zoom.
movie.
Go,
I
boom,
can't
boom.
believe she's like, why does that sound so familiar?
She should know instantly what it is. She's Protozoa's biggest fan.
That's such a 15-point buzz. What is she talking about?
I'm gonna have to cut that because nobody will understand what that means.
Well, I'm happy I said it, so deal with it.
Zenon calls Orion because he's like the only one that might believe her. By the way, zero chemistry in this scene, zero romantic chemistry in this scene.
They're both fine acting in this movie.
There's no romance at all.
Yeah.
Just to remind you. She shows the zap pad to him and it's playing zoom, zoom, zoom. And he's like, the aliens sent you that? And she goes, Cetus-Lupeedus. The aliens want to meet Protozoa. Well, what I want to know is, how did they get to her zap pad?
Don't think about it.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Now they're walking in the hallway and Xenon's like, we should keep this to ourselves. And then there's an announcement about the jettison Sector 7 starting. The jettison of Sector 7 is starting. Yeah. So they all strap down while a big chunk of the ship just floats off into space.
Good thing no one was in it at the time.
Well, they like prepped for that.
Yeah. No, I know. It was a joke. I'm allowed to make humorous attempts.
Haha. In the common room, Zenon talks with Nebula. She's like, Nebula, are you still mad at me? But we're BFs for life. Why is Nebula mad? Fuck Nebula.
Nebula deserves nothing in this movie.
I know. Xenon's like,
honestly, she didn't really do that much in the first movie.
She was important to helping save them, but she stayed on the space station while Zenon went back to Earth.
And if I remember the third movie well enough, she's basically a cameo.
She's even less. She's literally just a cameo.
It's like she's in multiple scenes, but never with another actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Raven-Symoné on set or on a green scene set for like one day.
Yeah. Zenon says, fine, you can be friends with Margie. I don't care. I just want to know how we're going to get past this if you don't tell me what's tweaking you. And Nebula's like, you're attacked. My section's getting cut, so my family's being shipped off. And Zenon says, this is crisis mode extreme.
Why didn't you tell me this before? And she's like, oh, we were just like having a fight, so I didn't think you cared about me anymore.
She's like, I didn't think you would care about
the
it.
Emotional manipulation.
Fuck Nebula.
Yeah, and luckily we never see her again.
We do.
Damn it. I was hopeful.
She said, we can't just take this. Commander has never been to war with Zenon Carr. Kind of has.
Yeah, didn't you watch the first movie?
Yeah. All right. Zenon and Nebula push a big crate. Maybe she meant the captain.
Oh, no. She did mean the general. I think she said the general.
Oh, okay. I just wrote it wrong.
Because she's been to war as a war general.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm just confusing the commander and the captain.
Yeah, they're similar terms, but they are different enough that that's on us, not.
Yeah. Whoops, my bad. He's never been to war with Zenon Carr.
Margie has.
Yeah. All right, so Zenon and Nebula are pushing a big crate, and Nebula's freaking out. And Zenon's like, don't worry, we got this. And they carry the crate into a storage room, and then Margie's like eavesdropping, and Nebula's like, what will I do without you? And Zenon says, at least Earth isn't too bad. The food is really good. Make sure you get some food. And then they hug. And then the girls walk away, and Margie gets a sly look on her face. So you know she's up to something.
She's scheming.
Classic Margie, you go, girl. Now it's the next day. Xenon's parents are saying goodbye to Nebula and her mom, and Zenon isn't there. I guess she's sleeping or something. But we see the crate get pushed by, so it's like, I wonder what that is.
Do you think Xenon's doing a little stinky?
What?
Sorry, a little sneaky.
Stinky.
I fully meant to say stinky. but I thought like I could play it off as being sneaky better. But you fully called me out. She's doing a little stinky.
The mom, this is like a thing that's been mentioned a couple times that they're just forcing to be a plot. The mom mentions she hates flying and Earth.
Yeah, the parents both have like characters, and by both I mean at least the mom.
She's
And
like,
by
oh, I'm terrified
by
of
that,
it.
it's like at least one plot point.
Yeah. And she's like, I hope Zenon's all right. And then now we're on Earth and the ship lands and we see the crate again. And a guy like unloads it in a room. And when he moves it, it grunts. And he's just like,
I don't care. I'm not paid enough.
and
I'm
then,
being paid minimum wage, which is probably still $15.
Later, the crate shakes and Zenon busts out of it. And you were right. The way it flips over, she would have been upside down.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't know how well she was moving.
Maybe she wasn't. She could probably flip around herself.
That's true.
And maybe she like kind of flipped upside down to try and push it or something. I don't know. Anyway, Margie's just sitting there and is like, took you long enough. I got out of my box 2 minutes ago.
And she just let Zenon struggle.
I love that she brags about 2 minutes. She should have said like half an hour ago or something. But it's like, I've been out for 2 whole minutes. Zenon's like, what the hell? What are you doing here? Margie's like, why do you always get to go off and have macro adventures? Maybe I want the glory major for myself once. Although I wish I would have known how sweaty and gross I would get in that truck. And Zenon's like, this isn't a silly field trip. I came down here to save my home.
Yeah, Zenon's pissed because this is serious. And Margie's like, who cares? It's not like anything bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, so I guess Margie's just also here now. And they go to Zenon's Aunt Judy's house with Margie, and then Aunt Judy's like, oh my god, I'm so happy to see you, but also, what are you doing here? And Zenon's like, Aunt Judy, I talked to an alien, they sent me a zoom. And Judy just believes her. She's like,
that's really all we have to say for this scene.
Yeah, she's like, of course there's aliens, it's only a matter of time.
Really, that's just on Judy's character. She has not changed, and that's good.
Love her. And Zenon says that she's the most stellanarious grown-up out there because she believes her. And Judy agrees to help, so they brainstorm. They're like, we really need to find Protozoa because the aliens clearly want to meet Protozoa.
And okay, obviously, how do you figure out where a rock star is hiding out?
Margie brings up a really good point. I think they should have explored more. Margie's like, what if they don't want to meet Protozoa? What if they already have him?
It's a great concept.
That would have been such a good plot.
That's a way better
already
plot.
had him.
And they're like holding him hostage.
Zenon's like, you fucking idiot. You think they would come down and take him and nobody would have noticed?
Okay, but Protozoa is currently hidden with no one noticing. Why can't an alien have the technology to do that? Idiot.
I know.
Zenon, I'm so mad that we're like letting this sit as a you win situation. This movie's just wrong.
I think Margie should have been right.
Margie should have wrote this movie.
Yeah.
It would have been a better
movie. Zenon's like, I know he's here on Earth. He's just in recluse mode extreme. And Margie's like, okay, well, how are we going to find him? And Zenon's like, duh. He's a musician. We'll study his lyrics. Because he'll write about a place he loves. And then they're like, okay, well, he mentions Nova a lot.
Yeah, I don't think Kelsey wrote it down, but we get basically the discography of Protozoa here.
Yeah, Supernova Girl, obviously.
Side note.
What?
The whole first movie, they only talk about Supernova Girl being a microbe song. The word microbe isn't mentioned once in this film.
True.
They just completely erase them from history, even though they've released no new music. So where's the rest of microbe?
They only care about Protozoa.
They only care about Proto. Such a head frontman bias.
Yeah. It's like if you're like, oh, I love this song by Maroon 5, and then Adam Levine goes missing, and you're just like, only reference Adam Levine forever and never mention Maroon 5 ever again.
Which, to be fair, I can't even visualize any member of Maroon 5 other than Adam Levine.
So, like, maybe it's fair that they're doing this.
I once heard someone describe Maroon 5 as the band that maybe has a black person in it. And that was, like, really something that stuck in my head.
That's pretty good. So like yeah, he talks about Nova a lot, like Supernova Girl. And Margie's like, isn't there also a girl named Linda that he talks about? And Xena goes on her little pad and types in Linda Nova. Ain't zero results. And she goes, what does Linda mean? Beautiful. And then she types in Nova Linda. And notice how like
This is so dumb.
I'm translating it to Linda did absolutely nothing because all she did was flip around the words and then that came up with like a house in the middle of the jungle. Like
As a side note, they've solved this mystery that none of the news could solve in seconds.
Linda Nova and Nova Linda? Success.
And they just completely made up the Linda fact because we only have ever heard one song.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough though.
But,
like
they
there's
could
a
have
lot of
said
songs
anything there, and they decided, you know what sounds the best? Nova Linda.
And what does Linda mean? Beautiful? Forget it. That doesn't matter. Nova Linda.
Beautiful Nova.
All right. So then cut to Protozoa on his Zap pad. And he's like recording himself like a vlog. And he contemplates what great thing he'll do next.
It's a V-mail. I read the fine text there. It's video email.
Sure.
It's so funny how close they were to like FaceTiming and they didn't realize it.
Yeah.
It was way closer.
Well, no, they do FaceTime in the movie,
they do. They do a lot. Yeah. But like no one's gonna really send like a video message.
Like Snapchat.
I guess people do that, huh?
Yeah.
I'm just not cool.
Yeah.
I've watched every DCOM. What am I doing with my life?
So this is Protozoa's plot for the movie. He's like, I performed in space.
He still has a very weird accent.
Yeah. I performed in space. And now where do I go from here? I'm the greatest rock star in the world. I gotta one up myself. And I wrote that I feel like this is Robbie Williams.
Oh my god, I didn't even read that. I'm like glazing over your nose. I was just about to pop out and say like, I don't know if it's because we watched Better Man a month ago, but like this is such a Robbie Williams, especially in the no one actually cares in America vibe.
Okay, I'm glad you also thought that. I literally wrote it down. I'm like, this is Robbie Williams. Now that I've seen Better Man and I know who he is, he's like, I'm the greatest rock star in the world. I gotta one up myself.
For the next 90 minutes, your ass is mine.
It's mine. I make a movie about myself, but I'm gonna be a fucking monkey.
My god. No, that's the exact vibe.
Yeah. I wonder if they based Protozoa off Robbie Williams.
kind of funny.
It'd be pretty funny. Because he was the thing in the 90s, right?
I'm pretty sure.
So then the girls roll up to the property, which like is a huge property with a bunch of like jungle. And they have to go up to the house and they can't drive there because it's like a fence. So Zenon and Margie are gonna get truck up in the wooded area by themselves and they say goodbye to Judy. And then the girls just start hiking up. It looks like kind of like a mountain or just a really big hill. And Margie starts immediately complaining. And Xenon's like, what do you want me to do, Margie? Carry you? And Margie's like, yeah. And Xenon's like, no. And then Margie falls and gets all muddy, which is a goop.
It's such a meaningless goop, too.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a goop in Zenon, give us some funky little goop. Don't give us mud.
Where's the space goo? There's no space goo?
In space, no one can see goo.
Okay. So then Zenon stops and Margie bumps into her and she's like, whoa, why'd you stop? And it's because there's a spider web. And we'll get to that in a second. So up in space, Margie's dad is looking for her. And he ends up in her room and she left a recorded message for him. And it's like, hey, Dad, by the time you see this, I'll be on Earth with Zenon. But it's because Zenon forced me to. Kidnapped me. Love you, Daddy. Bye, Ness.
I love Margie. She just immediately guilt trips and like is just immediately like, okay, Xenon's gonna get in all the trouble for this if it goes.
So funny. It's so funny, actually.
So appreciate that. Again, Margie's the best part of this film.
She is. She really is. Okay, back to the spider web.
This, out of every single thing in the movie, is for some reason the one thing that stuck in my head the most. There's a big old spider web.
They can't go around it.
They say, oh, we can't go around it. They clearly can go around it.
So the way they have it, it's kind of like a big tree-trunk kind of tunnel. So it looks like they have to go through it, but there's gotta be a way around it,
No way
right?
it's a wall.
Are they following a path?
Even if they are following paths, they could just go until that wall ends and turn.
Yeah,
It's
they could just go around because they're outside.
yeah. It makes no sense, but it's just a huge deal of the girls fighting over who has to walk through a spider web.
It's like a really big spider. To be fair though, it's probably quicker to just go through it. So what Zenon does is just grabs a stick and whacks it. And then she holds up the stick and the spider's on the stick and they freak out and run away.
It's such a meaningless scene, but again, for some reason it's like the only thing that stuck with me in the
so long for what it is why it stuck with you. Because we spent like 5 minutes with the spider. Why?
because the spider tested well when they did test screenings of this movie. I don't know. It's dumb. I don't need to defend this movie. What am I doing?
Back in space, Xenon's parents wonder why she hasn't come out of her room yet. And Dad's like, just leave her alone. She'll be fine. And then the captain comes in and is like, if Zenon harms Margie, I'm going to freak out. And they're like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, you don't know that
He's like,
she's
yeah, I
on
don't
Earth?
believe you that you don't know. I'm like, go check our daughter's room in the basement.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's here.
And she forced my daughter to go with her. And so they knock on the door and they hear Xenon's voice saying, go away, leave me alone. And they open the door and see that every time they like knock, a recording plays that's like, go away. And then they see a voice call from Judy, like on Xenon's TV in there, and is like, hey guys, I bet you're wondering where your beautiful daughter is. And so she's gonna explain to them off screen what's happening. The two girls get to Prozoa's house, and Margie's like, how do you do it? And Xenon's like, you try too hard. Sorry, just like in general, how do you do it? How do you always succeed at stuff, I guess? And Xenon's like, you try too hard. Don't try to be me, just be yourself. And then the girls approach the house, and Zenon gets trapped in this like tickly electro wave.
Yeah,
thing.
security measures have gone a lot better in 25 years.
Yeah, now they just shoot you. I'm kidding. Margie steps in it too, and now they're both laughing because it's ticklish. And then Protozoa shows up, and he's like, well, well, well.
Zenon car?
Zenon car? And he turns off the trap, and she's like, yeah, it's me.
From the first movie.
And then she shows him the alien recording that sounds like zoom, zoom, zoom. So she's like, they're dying to meet you. And he's like, yeah, love, why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, he is so full of it, and
it's pretty
reasonable.
Good. So she's like, are you gonna come with us to space? And he's like, no, I've already been in space. The whole reason I'm out here, so think of a new challenge. And
this is also, I'm mad about, like, what else can I do? Like, dude, just do anything.
I know. He's like, I have to one up myself all the time. And she's like, well, you can perform for aliens. You can't. How can you get a more unique major than that? And he's like, all right, you convinced me. When do we leave?
Yeah, he immediately is like, yeah, I can end my hiatus.
I'll perform for some fucking alien.
Let's go.
And I'm a monkey. All right, the parents can't believe Zenon left, and Judy jumps right into helping her. So, like, what the hell, Judy? What's wrong with you? Mom's like, if we get reassigned to Earth, everything about it terrifies me. She's back to just being scared about that. And the dad's like, we'll manage. We're a family. We'll do it together. And then they try to leave, but there's a guard at the door, and they're under house arrest until Zenon returns with Margie. They're like, well, what about our experiments? And they're like, too bad.
The guards know that the experiments aren't finishing anyways.
Yeah. I don't remember what their experiments are. I think they did explain it in the first movie.
It was like something with rats and zero gravity and cancer treatment.
Whoa.
I think.
That's fun. Right. Protozoa is like, oh, I've been in such a funk with my riding, but now I can ride again.
And he's strumming some very mediocre guitar.
Yeah, he's like, I've basically written a whole song already. And Zenon gives him a snack, that's like not very good. And he's like, hey, if aliens want to meet me, why not come down to Nova Linda?
Yeah. So fair enough point, enough. And then Margie also makes a fair point, but the way that she made it, I think, is one of the more fascinating conversations we had during the movie.
Margie always says the smartest thing, and Xenon's always like, you're a fucking idiot. But
no, this one she
one,
does
yeah, right.
agree
This
with.
one she does, but the last time she's like, how dare you think that they
Protozoa
already
could have
have
been abducted by
protozoa.
aliens.
Yeah.
Completely reasonable to me.
Yeah, Zenon just so happened to be right. But Margie says, well, maybe they saw the movie E.T. and
it's like the old major movie.
yeah, and that they would get experimented on. So like meeting in space is safer major.
Yeah. We were talking about would E.T. still be a classic? But then if you think about it, it's still considered a classic now.
So what's another 30 years?
Let me look up. This would actually be a good example because I feel like it's something where each of them have to be established enough with the plot to understand it.
Oh, so how did the aliens watch E.T.?
Well, they're saying like maybe it's like that situation.
Oh, they just had the thought process themselves.
Yeah. What year did E.T. come out? 1982.
Okay.
So I just subtract 35 years from that. Or sorry, 25. 82 minus 25 is
the 60s.
So 50s, 57.
Oh, the 50s.
I'm going to say 1950s movies. Just looking at all 1950s films because you know what? That fits. We've got like Sleeping Beauty, which would work.
Yeah.
We've got Ben-Hur, Some Like It Hot. The original Godzilla. I mean, a lot of these have remakes and stuff, which would be different.
E.T.'s pretty big.
There could easily be an E.T. remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, would it be well known enough for all of them just to talk about it? Or would they just, because when they wrote that line, it was only like
20 years old.
Yeah.
Less than that.
Less than that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Well then, how are we supposed to find them when space is so big? Good point, Protozoa. Zenon starts trying to break into
It's
the
barely
files
an
on her Zap pad.
inconvenience.
Yeah. So she's like, I'll just figure out my Zap pad, I guess.
This
And
this
she just
actually
breaks
bugs
in.
me so much.
She just gets into the
Because
files.
basically she says, okay, Orion was saying when it got that stuff got downloaded onto my Zap pad, the Zoom, the final one, they probably also downloaded other stuff into it, but I can't access it. And then she spends like 10 seconds working on it and
beep,
accessing
beep,
it.
Beep,
She should have been able to access it before.
It goes
what
beep,
the
beep,
hell?
Beep, 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 beep. It works.
No explanation of why that time works. No fun little like password guess thing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So then she FaceTimes with Orion and it's like, yeah, this is probably like a map from the aliens, so we just need to uncode it. And Orion's like, cool, I'll work on it. Then Zenon tells Margie to ask her dad to get a spaceship arranged to go find the aliens. And Margie's like, that's probably not going to work because he's probably really mad at you because you kidnapped me. And Zenon's like, what?
Margie's like, yeah, I
Margie's
got
like,
some
oh, yeah.
explaining to do.
Oh, yeah, I told him that you kidnapped me. I couldn't just tell him that I snuck off to have an adventure.
That'd
He'd be so
irresponsible.
mad. Yeah. And Zenon's like, what the fuck? So once again, I'm the expendable one. And Margie says, exactly.
Good on you, Margie.
So true, Margie. And Zenon's like, well, you have to convince him, end of story. The aliens are waiting. If the world sees that we contact aliens, maybe they'll leave the space station alone. So, like, this is the plot now for how Zenon saves the space station, I guess. Because, like, they're gonna do something really cool.
Yeah. Sure.
Zenon holds out her Zap pad and says, you can do it, Margie. And Margie's like, I can't do it. Technology and I don't get along.
She blames technology, which is pretty dumb.
You want to know what they're talking about right now?
The Zap pad they've been using throughout the film.
Yeah, Zenon's like, you need to call your dad. And she's like, I can't do it. Why doesn't Zenon just hit the call button and then hand it to Margie?
Because the actual reason is, this is the reason, as far as I can best realize. She doesn't actually have technology issues, really. The issue is she's scared to call her dad.
But that's not what they say.
But they don't say that. And the reason they don't say that is they want to later, because they're going to set up the call in a weird way where they don't they can hear her dad, but her dad can't hear or see them.
And so they're like, how do we explain that this happens? Let's just say Margie's bad at technology.
Which just messes up everything. This movie,
it's so stupid.
This movie was thought once.
Yeah. So, yeah, Margie does it, and she calls her dad all nervously, which, like, this fear of technology is so new. And he answers, but he's having a conversation, doesn't realize that she can hear, and they overhear him talking about how they're going to destroy the whole space station. He said this tub is history. Is that really what he said?
Yeah.
And Zenon's like, how did you do this? And Margie's like, I don't know, I'm bad at technology. And so, yeah, it was so that they could hear the plot.
But, like, honestly, they do nothing different with their plan.
The only thing that they know now is that I guess the whole ship is going to go under. Yeah. Which, like, parts of it was already being broken off.
And also, like, the issue is not going to be solvable by aliens 99% of the time.
I know. She's like, but we need to get the aliens, because if we make contact with aliens, they're going to be like, oh my god, that's so sick nasty.
That's not the issue. The issue is they're going to die.
I know, but they don't really explain that yet. Only a little bit. Yeah. It's really confusing.
It's just poorly written.
It's really poorly written. Okay, let's keep going. Judy calls the commander and tells him about what Zenon heard, and he's like, suppose I'm insane enough to go after the aliens. How am I supposed to know where to go? Oh, well, Zenon has a map and Orion is deciphering it. And he's like, Judy, sweetheart, this sounds crazy. And she's like, yeah, but life is crazy. Zenon has an uncanny ability to be right about these things, so we should just listen to her. And he's like, all right. Cut to Orion being a smarty pants and telling the commander how he got the map. He's like, I did this, and it's a map. Mm-hmm. And Commander Plank is like, do you believe this map is legitimate? And Orion's like, I fully believe we're gonna find some aliens. Dope. That's a Zenon looking out to the horizon very dramatically. And then Margie walks up. There's no word from anyone yet. And Zenon's like, I shouldn't confide in you. I hate you.
Heart to heart, but they have to fight before.
Yeah. And Margie's like, why do you hate me?
Also, still iconic behavior.
So funny. Zenon says, no, you hate me. You've been mean and sarcastic to me since I showed up on Earth the first time. And Margie says, oh, that's just how I am. You're fully ridiculous for taking it personally.
Again, hilarious. Also forgetting the fact that this entire movie, Margie has been blackmailing Zenon.
For real.
It's very funny.
Zenon says people do take it personally. No one wants to be picked on. Margie's like, people actually listen to me?
It's
so dumb. Like, Margie never actually apologizes for her behavior, and she's iconic for that.
Yeah. If this movie's better for it, maybe if the movie was good, I would be annoyed at how she's written. But since the movie is bad, it's like a silver lining of stupid bad.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is mostly boring bad.
Yeah. Margie says, my dad has been in the military my whole life, so I've moved a lot, and it's macro hard to start over. I don't try to be a jerk, I just don't know how to fit in. Unlike you, who pop in and instantly fit in everywhere. I think Margie does try to be a jerk. I think this is a lie, but whatever. Zenon says, but everyone looks to me for fun, adventure, and answers. Like now, what if I'm wrong? This could end badly for my parents and the commander. Everyone has pressure, Margie. Start learning you're not the only one with problems. So Zenon's saying, but since I'm so cool and popular everywhere I go, people look to me for answers.
Like, yeah, Zenon's sole complaint is so stupid here.
This isn't really a problem, Zenon.
They're both in the wrong here, but at least Margie is wrong in a fun way.
Yeah, exactly. That's a Nebula with her mom on Earth, and Nebula doesn't like the super cool, nice apartment that they're in. She's like, this apartment sucks, and it's like a beautiful apartment. Nebula's like, I just hate Earth in general. And Mom's like, well, you might as well give it a chance. And then there's a knock on the door, and some guys ask for Nebula. The general wants to interrogate Nebula to find Zenon.
Ruh-roh.
So then the commander goes to talk to the general, and he's like, I have a favor. My girlfriend is nagging me to visit her, so can I just like have a shuttle to go to Earth and then visit her for a bit, and I'll be back in a few days? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, okay, cool, thank you.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, nice and easy. Back to Nebula. They're interrogating her. And she's like, I told you everything I know. Zenon came here to find Protozoa. And they're like, well, how does she intend to find him? And she's like, Zenon and I have been friends our whole lives. An unclear minor on how she does anything.
Sure.
Slang.
Nebula, just get off the screen.
Judy tells Zenon the commander plank is coming with a shuttle to get them. Judy's like, stay out of sight. The army's looking for you. And then the army guys show up at Judy's door. So Judy just runs for it.
Just books it. And
She books
that
it.
somehow works for her. She outruns a full army.
Very funny. Don't they hear her like running away and they're like, I think nobody's home, sir. We should leave.
It's dumb.
Cut to Orion geeking out about the aliens. Commander Plank is like, yeah, I'm still skeptical about it. And then the captain overhears Commander and Orion talking about it. So, okay. So Commander Plank and Orion are talking about the aliens, and he's like, I don't know, this alien thing is still kind of sketchy. And they walk out in the hallway talking at full volume, and then the captain just hears them.
Right there.
He just is like,
Hi.
are you us.
Sneaking out to find aliens?
Maybe you shouldn't talk about your lies and deceit out in public.
Yeah, well, they're both dumb, so.
This movie's dumb.
Oh, burn. Got him.
Like, we're just trugging along, aren't we? And nothing's happening, but whatever. Zenon and Margie help Protozoa haul a bunch of luggage out, and then we see Xenon's parents under their house arrest, so they're complaining about it. Orion shows up in their vent, and he's like, I'm here to bust you out. And then Aunt Judy shows up at Nebula's house. Like, a bunch of stuff is happening. Zenon FaceTimes with her parents, and they're freaking out, and they're like, Zenon, maybe you should just surrender. And she's like, and forget about the aliens? We can't. What if they're in trouble? So now this turns into, we need to help the aliens because the aliens might be in trouble. What? I thought the aliens just wanted to meet Protozoa, and they're like, let's do that because that's cool, and then we can save our space station because we talked with the aliens, and that's pretty cool.
But now they just change it up, and because Zenon said it, it's true.
Oh my gosh. And then they're like, we should be practical, Zenon. And Plank is the only one we know who can fly a shuttle, and now he's like arrested. And then they're like, actually, mom knows how to fly it. So the dad's like, you should fly it, honey. And she freaks out. And she's like, I don't know. I used to love flying, but now I'm scared of it. What happened?
You had a daughter.
Yeah, he's like, we had a daughter. The stakes changed. And she wants me to do it. So then Judy shows up on the beach with Nebula, and they're like, where's Zenon? Oh, I'm sure she'll be here any minute. And then Orion and Xenon's mom crawl through these vents that it's like a big circle tunnel.
And yeah, the mom is just getting really scared about everything going on. And also, it's a plot I don't really care about. I mean, at least they tried to give them all a character. That's something. But, like, who cares?
And the mom's like, we have to get to the shuttle. And Orion's like, no, we're not going to get to a shuttle with the patrol out. So you're going to fly this thing. And it's just like a spaceship. And then there's a shot of a helicopter. Why is there a shot of a helicopter? What's the helicopter for?
I don't know.
I don't know. And they show the spaceship like we're supposed to know what that is and how different it is from a shuttle. We don't. This movie sucks. Let's keep going. I'm just trying to get through it now.
Don't worry, we still have 3 pages of notes to go.
Woohoo! Zenon shows up on the beach with Judy and Nebula. Zenon catches them up on how the commander plane got caught. So it's kind of a disaster, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. Cut to Xenon's mom and Orion on the ship, and she's freaking out, especially about landing. And Orion's like, I don't want to be unsupportive, but maybe you should have thought of that before we took off. Shut the fuck up, Orion.
Yeah, no, Orion, no one cares. You're either going to die here, in which case this is what you're dying for. Cringe.
Like, clearly she did think about how scared she was,
but she
Orion.
Thought she had to do it anyway.
She fucking had to do it. Whatever. Captain yells at his crew for not finding his daughter, and then the other dude tells about the missing ship, and then the mom freaks out some more about landing, and they're heading towards Earth. And Xenon's like, with her fear major and recent experience minor, how did my mom get the courage to do this? And Judy's like, from you, dollface. You push us places we didn't think we could go.
Oh, Xenon's the courage.
Zenon, oh my god. It's because of you. You're amazing. And then they see the ship coming, and they're like, "Yeah, Mom, you did it!" And then she shakily lands the ship almost right on top of her daughter. Maybe you
She
should
made
have
it, but
done it somewhere
it was
else.
crazy.
Yeah. And then a bunch of military guys on four-wheelers ride down the beach. It's pretty badass, actually. They're just like, where'd they get these four-wheelers? How do they
It
know
like
they
kind
were
of looks like
here?
out of Mad Max.
It's pretty funny.
But if they had guns or anything, they could easily stop this from
They could just
relaunching.
kill them.
Yeah. And there's so many weapons in 2050. Like, my God.
Stun guns or something. I don't know.
So, all of this to say, they could really stop them if they wanted to. But instead, the mom's like, okay, everyone's got to get back in. We got to fly again now. And the ship struggles to get going because the thrusters are too hot.
They need to
But
cool
then that is
down.
immediately, like, 2 seconds later, completely fine.
She
And they
just
have
hits the
no
button
problems in
again.
the air.
Yeah.
So, that was dumb. They
It
just
was
try and
dumb.
add stakes, and they didn't.
This movie sucks. On the ship, Zenon's dad and Commander Plank are yelled at by the captain, and they're like, "Oh, you're chasing phantoms? These aliens aren't real." But it's like, sir, they've been getting signals from them, and the phantoms are in distress. Apparently now they know that the aliens are in trouble. How the fuck did they figure that one out? All they've heard is zoom, 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 and gotten a map.
Fuck if I know. This movie just wants you to assume that they know stuff. Maybe Zenon, we later learn she can talk to the aliens. So maybe the aliens are putting these thoughts in her brains that are accurate. In which case, why didn't they just say everything?
No. And Commander's like, maybe we should focus on getting them a safe return, sir. And so you think this is going to lead to them sending a ship to go save them because, spoiler alert, they're going to lose fuel out in space? Doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So what was the point of that? There was no point. On the ship, Zenon talks with her mom. She's like, I don't get it. This is where we're supposed to be. Where are the aliens? And the mom's like, maybe it wasn't a precise location. We could be miles off. Great. So we can't just fly out here forever until they show up. And Xenon's like, I have a feeling major in my bones that they're going to show up.
Me thinking that they just needed to, like, perform the song. Right?
So many things better. Mom is like, thank you for shaking me out of my cocoon and getting me to fly again. And Xenon's like, Cetus-Lupeedus, I did all that.
I feel like they've forgotten to say Cetus-Lupeedus through half this movie, so they're like, oh, we gotta get at it.
They said it. They said it.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like not as much as the first one.
Cetus-Lupeedus. Mom's like, yeah, your children teach you stuff, blah, blah. It's like a heartwarming moment. I didn't write too much about it. And then they see that they're running out of fuel, and Orion just didn't refill the tanks. Fucking idiot. And Mom's like, well, we can't reach the ship to send someone to rescue us by, like, phone. So we're stuck out here.
Yep, they're dead.
Also, they're getting sucked into the moon.
Yeah, they went a little too close to the moon, so they're just gonna get pulled into the moon and die.
And explode on impact.
Yeah. So that's really good.
So Judy starts freaking out, and
Makes
everybody
sense.
does. And Xenon's like, Cetus-Lupeedus, how did I get us into this mess? Zenon isn't freaking out enough. And Protozoa says, we can't die. I haven't released my greatest hits yet.
That was so funny.
I know. And then the ship starts crashing down to the moon. But then Zenon sees a light coming for them. Oh my god, it's them! It's the aliens!
Woo.
The alien light beams them and starts carrying them somewhere. And Xenon's like, they won't hurt us. I can tell. You can't be in a ship that beautiful and be evil. It's like a very rainbowy kind of butterfly.
The alien is very much like kind of static on a TV screen, but rainbowy.
Rainbowy. And then the alien light form gets on their ship, and Zenon waves at it.
You missed something that continues on the Margie saying something smart, and then Zenon makes fun of her. Where Margie's like, what if they just appear on our ship? They, like, go through our ship, don't even need to open a door, because they're talking about opening a door for the alien.
And Zenon's like, they're aliens, not ghosts.
And then the alien just appears on the ship, and they don't address that fact. Yeah, the alien design I do actually like. It's pretty cool. It's interesting and unique, and I haven't seen it before, so good on them. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like little sparkle particles.
It does make it silly because they're gonna talk with the aliens and stuff, and then at some point, like all of the alien sparkles will be flying around them. And when you just look at it, it's clearly just the actors looking around on an empty stage. Well,
Yeah.
nothing's happening next to them, but then they added in some digital stuff, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like meaningless.
Mhm.
But yeah,
So Zenon waves at the alien life form, and I guess it waves back.
not really, but they say
Yeah.
it does.
And Protozoa's like, please, I'm the idol. They want to see me. Have at me, darlings. But then it doesn't do anything. And Nebula's like, what if it wasn't Protozoa that they wanted? And then Zenon can just understand what they're saying because they got in her brain or something. And she's like, oh, their navigation instruments aren't working and they need help. So they want to upload their info into our navigation system. And in return, they'll carry us back to the ship. And Orion's like, why didn't they just hack into it themselves?
Great question.
Because taking it without asking isn't polite. Ha ha
Everyone
ha.
laughs about that. They took control of Xenon's thoughts without asking.
True. But Zenon wanted to talk to them. So that's fine. And then the magic sparkles fly around everyone and everybody laughs and they disappear. So to talk about this, I do like the asking or taking without asking isn't polite. I think that's cute.
Yeah.
I think everything else about the plot is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
The fact that it's like, oh my god, it's Protozoa's song. Why was it Protozoa's song? They never explained that because they didn't give a fuck about Protozoa.
Nope.
They just needed a navigation system. So it was like to get Xenon's attention, I guess. What they should have done is say, Zenon, you're the fucking chosen one or something.
Because she was like the girl in the protozoa contest.
Yeah, they never say anything like that.
No, it would have made sense, but there's no reason in theory why they chose Zenon. It doesn't even make sense. Like, there's no media or anything that they absorbed and found that it was Zenon.
Why, if they can just do this, why couldn't they talk to Zenon on the space station? Why did they have to go to this meeting place because of the experiment thing? Because of ET?
Couldn't they, if they were this close to the space station, couldn't they just like fly around the space station and people would be like, wait, that's a weird ship?
They'd be like,
And they worried
whoa.
people shoot it down.
I guess they were afraid they'd shoot it down. They're like, we need to talk to Zenon. So the whole point of them going to Earth and getting Protozoa
Was
pointless.
meaningless. Completely meaningless. Just ruined everything.
It had no reason. Which I could live with that because they kind of make fun of it of like, oh, it ended up not being that they wanted to meet me. Ha
Yeah.
ha. I can live with that if they like did something more with Zenon.
Yeah.
And they're
If
like,
she learned
Zenon!
some whole thing, or it was Zenon the whole
Zenon,
time they
you
were
were an
looking
alien the whole time or something.
Oh my god, Zenon, you finally figured out who you are.
Or like, it would have been even cooler if they had Protozoa like kidnapped. I don't know. They could have done so much different with the plot, and what they did didn't make sense and was stupid. So back on the ship, the captain's still pissed his daughter's gone. And Xenon's dad is like, they're on their way back and something really cool is coming. Whoa, a flying rainbow. And they look out the window and they see the alien ship. Oh my god, they're real. And Captain, and then, oh yeah, everybody gets back.
Everyone's so happy that everyone's alive.
And Captain's like, you're not off the hook though. Aliens are no aliens. I was not sent up here to be the villain. I was sent to follow orders. The station's out of orbit and deteriorating. So we're back to this. We're back to the whole space station's going to crash on Earth because we're out of orbit. They couldn't just choose one thing. Nope. They had to say, oh, we need to check that the funding is worth it.
Which would have made more sense, you know?
Oh, the thing's out of orbit and it's crashing, so and it's deteriorating, so we need to fix it. Oh, there's aliens and they want to meet Protozoa.
It's like they didn't want the kids to dislike Margie's dad in the end and be like, oh, he was just trying to figure out how to save the ship. But that's like dumb. Just let him be evil. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, there's aliens and they want to meet Protozoa. Just kidding, there's aliens and they're in trouble. But maybe if we meet the aliens, then they'll see that our ship is really cool and they won't defund it. But also we need to help the aliens because they're in trouble. Yeah, it's just like so many different things are happening and they don't really connect in a good way.
The story map here is very separated.
Imagine trying to explain this plot to someone, like actually try to explain it. It's like, oh yeah, the ship like it was being underfunded and people were being sent back to Earth, but also it's out of orbit. But also the aliens wanted to be protozoa, but then they didn't. It's
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. And so they're like, all you've done, Zenon, is put people you claim to love in danger. I don't know how she did that.
All the people on the like ship her mom was flying was in danger.
Oh, that's what they meant.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Margie starts standing up for Zenon.
Oh my god, for the first time in the movie, Margie,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Don't.
And the dad's like, how dare you argue me? And she says, yes, daddy, I do. Zenon found aliens and it was so macro. And Captain's like, okay, but like, was that actually an alien? And then the whole station rattles and they're falling into orbit, back into orbit, because the aliens help them get back into orbit with their little beams. And the sections that flew off earlier, they put them back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the aliens fly by again and they fly, and Zenon is like, stellar.
It's just a dumb way to fix everything, and
yeah, everything's fixed now.
You know,
we did
I could
it.
accept this a lot more if this was like a TV show episode. If Zenon was a TV show, I feel like I would accept a lot of what it is for.
Oh yeah. Because then you could break it down where like you think it's because they want to meet protozoa, but then it ends up not being that. Like that can be different arcs of a show.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
But with a movie, it just is like
with a movie, it's just like this plot's too disjointed.
It's so all over the place. They couldn't figure out exactly which plot they wanted to do, so they did all of them.
And it's unfortunate.
None of them were a good plot.
No.
That's a protozoa finishing a rock song, so we're at like a little concert or something. And Microbe is there, and we're like, how did they get there so fast? But they actually kind of explain this because it's insinuated that time has passed since the aliens came.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually fine. Also, Protozoa has a haircut. He doesn't have his ice tips anymore.
His ice tips weren't even really ice tips. They were little tiny, like tiny mohawks on every square inch of his.
Little spikes, and now they're gone.
I liked his old hairstyle better. It was
I know.
wild.
Which is another reason why I'm like, oh, time has passed. He has a haircut. He says, thank you, ladies and gents. As Zenon can testify, when she found me on Nova Linda, I was a mess. I hadn't written a song in forever. And then Zenon showed up talking about aliens, and turns out they didn't even care about me. They picked up my transmission of my concert in outer space and used that to contact a true believer, Zenon. It doesn't matter if I'm not the center of the universe, though, because I got my groove back. I'm even doing weddings now. And it shows that Plank and Judy are getting married. This is their wedding. Mm-hmm. This next song is for Zenon. It's The Galaxy Is Ours.
The Galaxy Is Ours fits completely with the Zenon song lore of being both catchy and annoying, which in of itself makes it a good satire of popular music.
Yeah. Wake me up, shake me up, or race me to the stars. What the particle, the galaxy is ours.
It is just a little more boring.
My girl. The
zoom, zoom, zoom.
Yeah, zoom, zoom, zoom. Made my heart go boom, boom. My supernova girl was a lot better than this one.
Yeah.
But how are you gonna beat zoom, zoom, zoom? Made my heart go boom, boom.
They tried, and this is not my complaint of the movie.
Yeah. And then Margie shows up, and they're like, Margie, I thought you were sent back to Earth. And she's like, oh, I convinced my dad to let me stay in space to get to know Zenon more. And Zenon's like, cool, we're all friends now. And then, okay, here it is, everyone. During the song, Orion taps Zenon on the shoulder, and she turns around, and they look at each other, kind of flirty-like, and then she turns back around. They don't say anything. They just look at each other like, oh. Maybe something can happen here. And that's it. Literally zero other airtime of those two or hint at anything romantic. It's just they look at each other like, maybe we could be together. Because Zenon has to have some kind of love interest,
and
right?
It's a different one in every single freaking movie.
It's so pointless because it's not at any other part of the movie. Like, Zenon doesn't have to have a love interest.
I genuinely don't remember if Orion's even mentioned in the D3.
I don't think he is. And we'll find out when we watch it, but I think it's a different guy. It's just dumb. So then the song continues and they dance, and then the song ends, and then the movie ends. And that's Zenon the Zequel. That's it. We complain a lot about it because the plot sucks.
It's probably not as bad as we were making it out to be, but it's really
better when you're
easy to
watching
complain
it.
it. Yeah, when you're watching it, it's watchable if boring and like not that captivating. But again,
Yeah.
being able to every single scene, there's at least an interesting outfit.
That's the thing, is like the outfits are fun.
The production design is fun for the most part.
The slang is
The
fun.
bad
Like,
CGI is not an annoyance; it's fun.
yeah, and it's still Zenon. Like, they're still saying their fun little words. Margie's back. Zenon's back. Like, if you're just looking for a really basic sequel to Zenon, which on its own is like a fine movie. I mean, Zenon was better than I remembered it being. The sequel though is like, it's nothing special.
I really do just think a Zenon TV show would have been the route.
That would have been stellar.
It would have been Supernova.
Yeah. But unless they did it bad, it would have been Inky.
All right. If you have any thoughts about Zenon the Zequel or any other DCOM, please email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com or send us a carrier pigeon.
Yeah, let us know if you like this movie. It's fine if you do. I think it's very uninspired for what it should have been.
If people defend the sequel. People defend Zenon 1, and I get
that's fine
Zenon
because rewatching Zenon 1 again, I was like, okay, actually, there's a little sauce here. Like, it's fun. I like the gimmick, the costuming, and the world building is fun.
And if you're a huge Zenon 1 fan, maybe you can like Zenon 2 because in a lot of ways it's just more Zenon. But the problem is it's more muted and less meaningful.
The stakes are not there.
Yeah.
Like the first one. The first one,
and there's
huge
no
stakes.
Greg. There's no horseback
Greg?
riding.
First one had huge stakes that were literally about to blow up.
And like, even though that's almost true in this one, like they almost blew up hitting the moon. It doesn't feel.
That was like 2 seconds of the movie. Yeah, the stakes never felt huge in this one. Yeah. So final Jank House ranking of Zenon the Zequel was 84, which is pretty low.
Pretty bad.
Benji, you have it at 91, and I had it at 87. So we thought even worse of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I put it like mid D tier.
Yeah, same. I have it like mid D tier.
Which maybe I'd move it to like upper D tier. I don't know, but like, is that giving it too much credit? We'll see.
Yeah, I feel like
not that good.
My D tier is really big, but so is my C tier. Maybe I just need another tier somewhere in between C and D.
You need C.5 tier.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's in D tier. I have it directly above Halloween Town. I feel like maybe I'd put Halloween Town 1 right above it. Right above Zenon. Mm-hmm. I gave Zenon the sequel more credit than Halloween Town. And you know what? They both are kind of bad. But I should give Halloween Town 1 more credit. Right below that was Halloween Town High. That one doesn't deserve credit. But Halloween Town 1 deserves a little more credit in my list.
Well, we don't need to talk about ranking these too much. We'll rank this in our next mini-sode, which will be a while from now.
It'll be a while from now. And we have to figure out what our next regular episode is gonna be.
Oh my god. If it's the Jenny Project, you owe me $1.
Oh my gosh. If it's zombies, you owe me $1.
Okay.
I really want to do zombies. We've done like multiple sequels. We haven't done any Descendants movie or any zombies movies yet, and I really want to.
Yeah, we gotta watch all the zombies before Zombies 4.
Yeah,
we probably won't.
We won't. We definitely won't. But I want to stick with the Z's for one zombies. So let's spin the wheel. All right, I have our movie. It is not either the ones we said.
You don't sound that excited or that pissed, so I'm gonna re-guess and say it's Read It and Weep.
No, I feel like I would have been a little more excited for that one.
Okay, what is it?
It's True Confessions.
Oh my god, I was so close to picking True Confessions.
Isn't my reaction perfect for it? Where it's like, I'm not like stoked for it, but I'm not that disappointed.
I mean, I feel like I don't really want to talk about True Confessions, if that makes sense. I don't think it'll be a struggle to watch through, but I feel like what there is to discuss is not what I like to discuss.
It's a melodrama.
Alright. Well, tune in next time to watch us talk about True Confessions.
True Confessions.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Scenes from our next episode.
Did they really just have Shia LaBeouf play a kid with a disability?
Yeah. Well, not just a learning disability. He's like on the spectrum.
Yeah. Are they really just gonna have the family like really react to him weirdly and be like, oh my god, he's actually a human person?
Oh.
Is he freaking out in a library?
Yep. Hey,
Are
I'm gonna make a movie.
I'm gonna make a movie out of this. You could make a movie out of this. And I'm gonna like submit it to the film review or whatever.
He's my brother. And
We're
I
in a
love
library
him.
and he's going crazy.
We're on a bridge. I remember a bridge for some reason.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. Actual autistic boy, Shia LaBeouf.